Hey, Think Realty, thanks so much for being a part of the podcast today. As always, I appreciate you guys coming out, paying attention, providing value back, giving lots of comments. Eddie Wilson, again, the founder of Think Realty, third generation real estate investor, always excited to have these conversations where I get to bring in great people and guests to help expand your knowledge as a real estate investor. So today I've got a great guest we'll get to in just a second, but I want to say a quick thank you to our podcast sponsor, which is Real Property Management. This episode is brought to you by Real Property Management. Working with the right property management company can put more money in your pocket, not less. Real Property Management provides a higher standard of property management to make sure you're maximizing the return on your investments. Experience the real difference with Real Property Management. Visit realpropertymgt.com. That's realpropertymgt.com. Our guest today is from Constructive Capital. It's Benn Jackson. Thanks so much for being a part of the show.
Hey,
yeah,
great to be here.
So you've been coming to AAPL now for quite a while.
Yeah, I think this is my fourth year.
Fourth, okay.
Yeah, it's been great.
I remember we hung out at a spot, I think it was a couple years ago, and we were talking through everything, but I remember seeing you around the show for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of panels and speaking and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, more lately, more in the last, let's just say year and a half. So I'm kind of, getting more used to that circuit a bit. But yeah, it's been really good though. Like I really appreciate being on panels, and also just, the whole mix of the conference environment. Yeah. Just, where the panels and the education and the information is out there.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let's talk about DSCR, but before we jump into DSCR, we had Michael on the previous show. He talked a little bit about Constructive, so we don't have to go super deep into it, but maybe for a person that just jumped on the show, give a brief overview of Constructive, and let's jump into DSCR.
Yeah, so we are a wholesale capital provider. DSCR is our number one product, and that's what we're best at. That's our secret sauce type of thing. We do RTL loans as well, but we're really, really good at DSCR and closing quick.
Yeah. And so if you are kind of working with a lender, typically as a real estate investor, a lot of times the capital is being sourced from Constructive, right? Mm-hmm. They've got a large market share. Yeah. And I always like to explain it this way. There's kind of like this whale at the end, and that's the big capital. And then you got the minnow that's way down here. Yep. And it's like somebody has to aggregate all of that so that the big capital gets all the way down to Main Street. That's kind of what you guys are doing. It's trying to create that conduit pass flow back to Main Street.
Yep, exactly. And one of the reasons that we have a competitive advantage over many of other players that are in the market that do the same thing is we're direct to the capital. Mm-hmm. We're not like daisy chaining, two or three links to get there. Right. Like we have the relationship directly with life insurance company, a big one that you'd all know the name of, publicly traded. Also, there's a couple big investment banks that you all don't know the name of, that publicly traded. Like we talk directly to them, negotiate our forward commitments with them, and then therefore we're able to pass those rates and those cost savings on through the broker to the borrower, to the minnows. Yeah.
A lot of times the real estate investor that's on the Think Realty show, they've got 5, 10 real estate investment properties.
Yeah.
And I think that explaining to them DSCR and the way that maybe they could leverage their portfolio to get more assets, right? Like my father's generation, my dad, he's got 100 units. I have 4,000 units, right? And it's not because I'm a better investor, it's because I understand leverage, Sure. And DSCR is kind of that vehicle for a lot of mom and pop investors. Yeah. So if you don't mind, just kind of explain, I know there's a lot of people on the show that will understand DSCR, debt service coverage ratio.
Sure.
Explain how that product works and how they can use it.
Yeah, I mean, in the simplest explanation is does your property cash flow? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, then we can lend you money based on that. Mm-hmm. So take the inputs, right? Your rent, and then your outputs, right? Your note payment, your either it's interest only or it's an amortized note, and then your taxes and your insurance, and maybe an HOA if it's a condo. And you just subtract those numbers and then divide. Mm-hmm. And if the DSCR is above a 1, then you're profitable or you're cash flowing. If it's below a 1, then you're not.
Right.
If it's below a 1, there's a reason, right? Like you just bought the property, or you bought a property that you intend to renovate and raise rents on and get to a positive number. But any investor always wants to have their number be positive. 1.5 plus would be probably pretty good for a cash flow purpose, but we'll finance anything down to a 1.0.
Yeah, yeah. And I know a lot of people right now, especially like in our world, they're building inventory now because they can't buy it. How do you get to a DSCR on something that's coming from a construction loan into long-term lending? How do you actually substantiate what the DSCR is?
It would be based on whatever market rent would be, really.
So as long as you look around the market, you find what market rent is,
Yeah.
it's going to be established on what they can expect.
Right. And hopefully, because it's sounds like a more premium product, that they'll be able to actually probably, over exceed that market rent.
Yeah, for sure.
Overperform.
That's what's happening for us in South Florida, is because we're putting new inventory on the market, 8, 10 new houses, it's overperforming your standard rents. And so what happens is, you get rated as a 1.1 or 1.2, and it's performing at like a 1.4, which is great,
Yes.
So very cool. How much kind of like rate and term refi type stuff are you getting right now? Any of that?
Actually, quite a bit still. Yeah, still quite a bit of that, because
even though a lot of the interest rates were smaller and then now they're larger.
But the rate and term refi business we do now, it's a lot of BRRRR investors, right? They're coming out of a renovation, and they're coming to us because they're keeping the property. They're not selling it.
They're keeping it.
They're keeping it in house. And we have a bunch of big investors, repeat clients that have done over 100 loans with us, right? That are in that position, and we can see kind of the way that they've built their portfolio over the last few years. And it's pretty exciting.
That's great.
Seeing them in the growth and everything like that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where real estate investors are. It's like, if you can kind of get to critical mass, all of a sudden you start, like, you have enough units and enough cash flow, you kind of like the dips of the market kind of just are like this over time, right?
Absolutely.
So what are you seeing now? I mean, obviously, big election just happened. You're seeing interest rates beginning to drop a little. Like, what do you see in the current marketplace? Like, what are you guys forecasting for, like, the big push for either Q4 or Q1 2025?
I mean, so we started seeing really strong just growth going back to like June, I want to say. And so back then, when we saw the pickup of this growth and the market share grab that we were kind of able to kind of achieve, we started staffing up like all the ops positions in the company. So at this point, most of those positions are filled, but we're still hiring in a few different spots, like underwriting and processing, I believe. But a lot of the positions that we staffed up, those people are now ramped up fully and ready to go. So we're actually coming into this like fourth quarter, end of year, looking into 2025. I think we're positioned like almost perfectly. Yeah. Just because we have the people in place, they're already trained up. They're either 100% or they're 90% on the way to 100, and the volume just keeps going up. Yeah. So
you guys have been crushing volume. I was talking to Benn before, and you guys obviously hit the 2 billion mark, which was a big day. But it seems like that's just going to be a milestone on the way to 3. I mean, you guys are just crushing it.
Right,
so.
And that's the way we position ourselves, is to get there, and that's the next step for us.
Yeah. What I love, and I had said this in an earlier show, is I feel like you guys obviously are top 3 or 4 lenders in our space, as far as how you're doing it, the amount of capital you're putting out there. But the crazy part is you actually treat, I believe, the customers, I've seen it, as if you're still a small shop, right? Like the customer care, the time spent with them. It feels like you guys really do a great job at service. Is that something you guys emphasize?
Oh, absolutely. Like our service and our like level of partnership with our clients, I've never felt this at any company ever before. Like, my clients in a lot of cases, they become like your friends. Like, we're friends. Obviously, we have a business relationship, and I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can to get everything fulfilled that we promised, and even just go above and beyond, right? Because we all know that like the exceptions are sometimes where the money's made, like where you can kind of prove yourself is, can you get this done for your client, and do you know how to get it done, or can you figure it out? And that's what we empower all of our people to do.
Sure, that's awesome. And I feel like that's a hallmark for what you do. Recently, a lending article came out about, it's called The Power of 3. You guys have basically, the 3 of you kind of have rose up in the ranks at Constructive. It was a great article. Any thoughts on that?
Dude, I mean, love the article. Super excited to participate in that whole write-up and the photo shoot and everything like that. That was really exciting for us. I mean, it really is true. Like we're saying what happened and what we did, and we're lucky to be in the position that we're in, but B, we work really friggin' hard to get there, and we're not stopping. So, but to have us recognized in the APL magazine was really fantastic for all of us.
Because really the three of you kind of stepped up into leadership roles from kind of like climbing through the ranks.
Yes.
Which is awesome. I mean,
we all started as individual performers, and we still perform individually and have our own clients.
Is there any of you that perform exceptionally better than the others? Or?
I think honestly,
And should we put a wager on the fourth quarter and out of the three?
I mean, we all fill our role in the company, and we're all happy to be here. And none of us are going anywhere anytime soon. We're, I think, at this point focused more on the team. And I just want my team to rise up alongside me. And the fact that we're closing right now north of in just a small little pod of people, like we're closing, $55+ million of loans a month. Like,
that's crazy.
That's the volume that we're able to do with
a lot of large companies in our space are not doing that. It's pretty crazy.
This is just a small little team within the team. So, we're really optimistic.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
cool. So, kind of last thoughts for real estate investors. If you had to advise someone that's maybe in this space of like, should I stay out of the market a little longer? Should I hesitate? Should I jump back in? I mean, like, just any last thoughts or suggestions for them?
Personally, I'm investing in real estate myself. I'm still looking at opportunities. But besides that, like, I think the rates where they're at, like the DSCRs that we're seeing and the cash flow that we're seeing on these properties is still pretty good in a lot of cases in many cities across the country. My advice would be to work with a really good broker. I think the brokers are always going to get you a better outcome and a better white glove service than you can going direct to lender. I know everyone wants to do it. They want to, like you said, they want to be the minnow that swims and gets to the end funding somehow, some way. But the brokers are going to get you there, and they're going to do it at the best possible rates. Like the rates that we offer our brokers, I don't think it's possible that a single person approaching a lender could be offered anywhere near that same rate, because what are they going to do on your $200,000 loan versus the company that's sending us $15 million in business a month? You're going to get the best rate, and that rate is a pass through essentially.
Love it. Thank you so much for being a part of the industry. Thanks for always supporting, whether it's on the Think Realty or APL side. Appreciate Constructive, what you guys mean to the market. So thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Think Realty, thanks so much for being a part of the show today. I want to say one quick thank you again to our podcast sponsor, which is Real Property Management. We're going to the right property management company can put more in your pocket than less. Real Property Management provides a higher standard of property management to make sure you're maximizing the return on your investments. Experience the real difference with Real Property Management. Visit realpropertymgt.com. That's realpropertymgt.com. If you haven't been looking at our Think Realty Plus program, that's the membership program that's part of Think Realty. And that's $14.99 a month. It's the most expensive thing we have to offer, but what it is we want to be a companion. I'm a third-generation real estate investor, and I constantly curate the information and content you need to be successful as you're growing your real estate portfolio. We believe that legacy and wealth is best done through this vehicle of real estate. It's the American opportunity that if you're not involved in, you're missing out on. And the greatest way to get there quickly, efficiently, and safely is with a companion, and that's what Think Realty is all about. You can go to thinkrealty.com/join. And there you can use the code LAUNCH. And if you use that code LAUNCH, you get the $14.99 program. And that gets the magazine to your doorstep consistently, access to all of our content, free tickets to all the shows. Everything that we have to offer is right there in that membership. And we want to be there to support you along this journey. So thanks so much for being a part of the show. If there's ever any way we can serve you, make sure you let us know. And if you haven't stopped by the local Barnes & Noble to pick up your Think Realty magazine, stop by today. Have a great day.